This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, a southern woman sells her best friend at a southern regional dog sale. A rail carriage rescued from a dirty creek last year has been restored. And a memorial has been unveiled for a southern man who's helped save the livers of many fish. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. A woman's best friend fetched the top price at the 64th annual Gore Dog Sale yesterday. Ojai-based sheep genetics manager Martha Broughton says taking her beloved working dog to the Charlton sales yard was a long and sad drive.
A working relationship between Western Southland farmer Martha Broughton and her dog Bryn has come to an emotional end.
He's been a good mate, so he's always happy to see me in the morning and happy at night when I'm feeding him, and just real laid back and easy going.
Broughton is the sheep genetics manager at Mount Linton Station. She says the time was right to sell her best friend to a fellow farmer. She set a high reserve and was pleased when Bryn fetched the top price at the sale.
Well, it's quite a lot of money, I suppose lunch and dinner is on me now, I suppose. Yeah, it's well over what I sort of had a reserve on for him. Yeah, it's pretty crazy money.
Bryn sold for $8,000, ahead of nearly 60 dogs featured at the Charlton sale yards yesterday. And Broughton says, while it'll be sad not working with Bryn, she knows he's going to a great home.
He's going to a good home, yeah. He's just out of Winton there and a nice sheep farm, so he's happy with that.
She says Bryn is a happy, laid-back, natural worker who responds to voice or whistle commands and needs little instruction. Bryn's new human is Henry Reardon, who farms near Winton, and says the 11-year-old Bryn and he will be the same speed on the land. In Gore, The South Today.
Blood and DNA likely to be from the man who murdered Azalea Wilson were found on the car of his mother. Patricia Sampson is on trial in the Invercargill High Court, accused of discarding possible evidence against her son. 22-year-old Azalea Wilson was murdered by Samuel Sampson last year at the Bavarian Motel in Invercargill. His mother, Patricia Sampson, is denying the charge of attempting to defeat the course of justice. The Crown alleges she discarded items into the Oreti River, which would tie her son to the murder. The court heard that DNA matching the profile of the victim was also found on a man's shoe and socks, which were in the boot of Patricia Sampson's car. The trial is set to continue this week. A 138-year-old railway carriage made its last journey to an outdoor railway museum in Lumsden yesterday. The carriage was recovered from a farm paddock last year, and hundreds of hours has gone into refurbishing it to its former glory.
This historic railway carriage made its final journey of about 300 metres to join the collection of locomotives, wagons and carriages on display at the Lumsden Railway Precinct. Built by New Zealand Railways at Addington in 1883, carriage A199 ended up spending the last 58 years in a farmer's paddock in Southland. After it was recovered last September, hundreds of hours have been spent restoring the carriage to its former glory, with Lumsden carpenter Gordon Lawrence working on all the joinery and timber work, assisted by an enthusiastic group of volunteers stripping, preparing and repainting the interior. Yesterday it was placed on a permanent site at the Lumsden Railway Precinct beside the former railway platform, which will be extended to protect and conserve the refurbished carriage. Additional embellishments to the precinct are to include more interpretation panels and photographs telling these stories about the fleet of rolling stock which is growing into a local visitor attraction. In Lumsden, the South Today.
3 more crew on the Martina container ship quarantined at Bluff have tested positive for COVID-19. A Ministry of Health spokesman says there were 3 positive cases and 1 historical case of COVID-19 reported today and recent returnees in managed isolation facilities. However, there were 2 further positive results aboard the Martina, which were reported after 9 a.m. and are due to be officially added to the case tally in tomorrow's update. There are no new cases of COVID-19 to report in the community in New Zealand today. Environmentalist and former Meridian Energy employee Fred Inder now has a plaque unveiled in his memory. Inder passed away last year, leaving behind a legacy in the form of a fish pass he helped design and commission on the Waiau River near Manapori.
Elva Inder from Te Anō unveils a plaque dedicated to her husband Fred Inder, who passed away last year.
Well, we were married for 68 years and never ever had a disagreement the whole time we were married. And we just got on, and I miss him terribly.
Fred Inder was a keen fisherman, and as an employee of Meridian Energy, he was involved in the design and commissioning of the fish pass installed here at the Marora Weir on the Waiau River below Lake Manapori, which is part of Meridian Energy's power scheme.
The purpose of that fish pass is to enable trout and salmonids, namely, to pass up and down the river, which they otherwise couldn't do because of the nature of the structure and the flow of the water.
Meridian Energy Environment Manager Andrew Ferrabend says Fred Inder was much admired for his passion for the environment during his work maintaining the fish passage at these gates.
He had roles on the Southland Fish and Game Council. He also had roles with the Lakes Guardians, who oversee Meridian's obligation from the point of view of the lake operating guidelines. So yeah, he was a great person, and he was a great friend of Meridian as well, from the point of view of being our eyes on the ground, so to speak, and someone we could rely on in terms of calling him out to do things for us.
Fred Inder died on the first day of last year's lockdown, and his widow says it was good to spend time with her family, visiting both the fish pass as well as nearby Lake Manapori.
My son took me out on the boat that used to be Fred's, and he'd never in it, and took us all out, and we went it over the lake. And Stella brought some roses, and we put the petals out in the water, and Terry put some ashes out on the water, and it's the first time that I had cried.
Near Manapori, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, an electronic device's battery charger is suspected of starting a Dunedin house fire, and we have this week's edition of Global Insight with Professor Robert Patman. So see you after the break.
Be sure to tune in to Football Chat every week, where we chat about local football fixtures, results and everything else that's happening in the local game.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
TV, our favourite babysitter, but it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Welcome back. Contact Energy and Meridian Energy are joining together to test the waters with a plan to make New Zealand the world's first large-scale producer of green hydrogen. They are investigating the use of renewable energy, currently going to Tiwai Point, once the smelter there finishes at the end of 2024. A market review has concluded international demand for hydrogen created through renewable energy sources, such as hydroelectric power, is imminent. The review also predicts the demand for hydrogen to increase dramatically over the next 25 years. A fire that damaged a Dunedin house and left one person in hospital may have been caused by an electronic device's battery charger lying on a bed. Saturday saw fire crews attend the fire at Lookout Point. St John's say they transferred one person in a moderate condition to hospital. Fire and Emergency New Zealand say the cause of the fire is undetermined, but may have been due to the failure of a lithium battery in a computer or a lamp being charged on a bed. In today's Global Insight, Professor Robert Patman says alleged state-sanctioned hacking by Chinese players has created a high new moment for global relations. The international affairs commentator says the combined Western nations' condemnation, including stern words from New Zealand, is, in a sense, calling China's bluff.
This week, New Zealand has joined Western nations in accusing China's government of internet hacking attacks. This comes just 2 months after New Zealand's own allies had accused it of being too soft on China. What's happening to New Zealand's foreign policy? Let's find out. Welcome, Robert.
Morning, Bruce.
This looks like a flip-flop from the New Zealand government. What forces are at play?
Appearances can be deceptive, Bruce. It looks like a flip-flop, but it's an adjustment. What forces are at play? Essentially, China has been hacking into New Zealand facilities or infrastructure. The GCSB have identified China 5 times in the last 3 years. And so this is not a new problem per se. What is new is the fact that China, which has previously targeted individual economic or military or cultural or financial targets, this time carried out what one analyst called a smash and grab attack on the Microsoft Exchange. And that meant that 30,000 plus organisations were affected, including some in New Zealand. So this was, if you like, a paradigm shift in the way that of cyber intrusion, allegedly by China. And the reason I don't think it is a flip-flop is because the Foreign Minister, Nanaia Mahuta, and the Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, have been warning in a coded fashion for about 2 months. That relationship with China was becoming increasingly complicated, and in the Prime Minister's words, the differences were becoming increasingly difficult to reconcile. Why has New Zealand chosen this moment to come out and give out its most public criticism of China? Because New Zealand has resisted the idea of being an echo of the Five Eyes. But what is really striking about this statement is that it goes way beyond the Five Eyes. It involves NATO, the EU, Japan, the United States, etc., etc. So this grouping, which has condemned China's cyber intrusions and specifically accused it of being responsible and colluding with criminal elements in carrying out this cyber attack on the Microsoft exchange, this is a really quite significant statement, and it's a warning to China.
So if we take a long-term view, how important historically is this moment?
I think it's a critical moment, a major landmark in the post-Cold War period. China must recognise that its rise to superpower status was based on access to the US market, to the EU market, to Japan, and therefore it is putting a lot at risk if it continues with these alleged cyber activities. So yes, I do think it's a very important moment, and I think what we're witnessing here is the limitations, well, the potential limitations of even a superpower to dictate to the rest.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Noho ora mai.
And you can watch the full interview with Professor Patman online at odt.co.nz. After the break on the South Today, a Dunedin schoolgirl is only 3 days away from her first Olympic swimming race, and we take a look at tomorrow's weather for you. So see you after the break.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
Thanks for staying with us. Dunedin schoolgirl Erica Fairweather is only 3 days away from her first Olympic swimming race. 17-year-old Fairweather, seen here in the middle of the group at Moana Pool last year, has her first race at the Olympics on Sunday night. The Year 13 pupil from Kavanagh College will compete in the 400-metre freestyle and then go on to the 200-metre freestyle on Monday. She's also going to be part of the New Zealand women's 4x200-metre freestyle relay team. Fairweather had originally been planning for the 2024 Paris Olympics, but after the Tokyo Olympics were delayed due to COVID, she had a shot at qualifying this time around. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. A southern woman sells her best friend at a southern regional dog sale. A rail carriage rescued from a dirty creek last year has been restored. And a memorial has been unveiled for a southern man who's helped save the lives of many fish. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Editor Barry. What have you got for us in tomorrow's paper?
Well, big story in the south today, Mel. Tiwai Point, when that smelter closes, it could open the door for green energy production that could add $500 million a year to New Zealand's economy. A new report suggests out today. So that's an interesting proposal there. So we have more details on that. And so it's all about hydrogen, and we have a graphic explaining how that is made, and as I say, some more details on that. Also a big day tomorrow for the Otago Polytech, a graduation ceremony tomorrow, and we've taken the opportunity to catch up with Adam Woodhouse, whose life has been turned around. The 46-year-old will graduate with a doctorate of professional practice today or tomorrow. Making him the institution's first doctoral cap.
Oh, fantastic.
So quite an achievement. Phil Kerr did get one possibly last year, but that was an honorary
Yeah, that was
award.
honorary, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's a significant milestone there. 3 more seamen test positive in Bluff for COVID, and the non-COVID patients amongst that lot are going to be moved to quarantine in Christchurch. So
that's kind of a bit of a welcome relief for everyone else, I think.
Well, apart from the people in Christchurch, but yes.
Oh, it's quarantine.
Yes, exactly. City Council looks set to request an urgent review of a system that hampers it from providing more affordable housing. So they're looking at that. And last but not least, the Olympic Games. The opening ceremony is on Friday night. So we celebrate that fact by producing a special 16-page lift-out publication tomorrow. Your guide to the Olympic Games, everything you needed to know and wanted to know or hadn't even thought of yet. So for those that are going to be sitting down for an intense period of TV watching, well, we have the perfect complement.
Perfect, and you can get your guide tomorrow in tomorrow's ODT. And now it's time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, Dunedin's George Street bathed in winter sun. Looking at the situation, fine weather for a few days with light westerly airflow, but a milder northwesterly airstream will arrive on Sunday with increasing cloud and rain in the west. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, 13 degrees and partial cloud in both Westport and Greymouth. Moving to the northeast, similar here as well with 13 degrees in Nelson and 12 in Blenheim, also with partial cloud. Moving to Canterbury, it's mostly a sunny winter's day for everyone here with 11 degrees in Kaikoura and Christchurch. Christchurch will see a bit of cloud throughout the day. Ashburton has a region high of 12 degrees. Moving to the southern towns, moderate westerlies and fine weather for all here with a high of 11 degrees for the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. Moving to the Central Lakes area, light winds with fine weather for most areas here with 9 degrees in Queenstown. Wanaka reaches 10 degrees. Alexandra and Te Anau have the region high of 11. Te Anau will see winds tending westerly later on. To the northern towns along the coast, light winds and fine weather with 13 degrees for Timaru and Oamaru. Inland, it's the same with a slightly cooler 11 degrees for Twizel and Marama. In Dunedin, fine and cold tonight with a low of 1. Mostly fine and sunny tomorrow and Saturday. Light winds will tend northeast, pleasant during the daytime though with light frost at night. Friday sees a high of 13 and a low of 1, while Saturday sees a high of 13 and a low of 2. And in Invercargill, fine and cold tonight with a low of 0. Mostly fine tomorrow and Saturday with sunny periods and some cloud with moderate westerlies. Friday sees a high of 12 and a low of 5, and Saturday sees a high of 14 and a low of 8. And that's all for our news for this Thursday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.